Messi and Argentina through to the World Cup 2022 semi-finals. I'm Terry Fleurs at the Football Terrace. We are live in Doha, the center of the World Cup. And what a dramatic end to the first night really here of quarterfinal games. Another penalty shootout. For me, Argentina and Messi and all that, the better team throughout the course of the 90 minutes. But a dramatic last 10 minutes plus injury time saw 2 goals from Weghorst give hope, give a chance, give life to LVG's men. And then it really was in the balance. You thought, Messi and Argentina, who played so well for the majority of the game, are they going to throw it away? Is it going to fall apart at the very last moment? It didn't. It goes to penalties. And I have to say, the Dutch were poor. The first 2 penalties, the first one, of course, missed by Virgil van Dijk. Very, very poor indeed. Didn't really give themselves much chance. I can't remember at this level of football seeing a team miss its first 2 penalties and go on to win. There was a little bit of a chance when Endo Hernandez put his penalty wide, but Lautaro steps up next, buries it in emphatic style, giving Lionel Messi his semi-final appearance. And I'm here. And I've been chatting to them. This place, when I say it's full of Argentinians, it is full of Argentinians. They've had airlines in Argentina that have had to buy and borrow aeroplanes from other airlines and other companies and other countries just to fly their compatriots out here. Unbelievable support that Lionel Messi's got out here. Lots of locals backing him as well. And the performance from Lionel Messi, if we start with that, was out of this world. Again, 35, 36 years of age. Everything I said in the opening game has turned out to be true. You need to build support around him at this age. You need to put the legs, you need to put the youth, you need to put the additional quality on the ball. And the inclusion now of Enzo Hernandez, who's having a brilliant season with Benfica, Julian Alvarez, he just gives him something different. Now, of course, Molina scoring from that right back position was a little bit unexpected, but just putting this youthful exuberance, putting these legs, putting these runners, putting these ballers, young ballers around Messi just enables him to cook in exactly the right way. And he does a fantastic job. And it enables them to help keep him working, keep him moving, because he's still got on the ball that tremendous ability, which his pace doesn't necessarily need. The pass for the first goal from Lionel Messi is a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty. If you actually see the angle, the lack of space of which he had to pass the ball into, sublime. The corridor for success was narrow. He was probably aiming at about half an inch from a perspective point of view, about half an inch, and he got it picture perfect. They go 1-0 up. Of course, they're awarded a definite penalty, and he buries that in emphatic style, giving his team a 2-0 lead. And then as things got late on, total football went total Route 1 football, and the ball was being lumped up front, where, of course, he is what he is. And they ended up kind of out of nowhere, really, because the Dutch weren't in the game, in my opinion, up until that point. The Dutch were able to bring themselves back into the game and give themselves an opportunity to maybe take the spoils. And there's a part of me that wanted it. There's a part of me that wanted it for the manager. But because obviously I've got a soft spot for LVG. He's a lovely bloke. I know he's been through a lot in his family, and I'd love him to have done it now that he goes into retirement. But when you actually break the game down, you know, they might have had more of the ball, but I think they only had 6 shots in the whole game. And if you actually look at those shots in itself, they had 1 shot. And this is why they didn't deserve to win for me, the Dutch. They had 1 shot between the start of the game and the 82nd minute. And then they managed to muster up another sort of 4 shots, from the 82nd minute onwards, and they scored from it. So I'm not saying, no, I'm going to say it. I don't think they deserve to win, you know. And then once they got that second goal and it got to 2-2, they just weren't a threat again after that. And, you know, the better team won. essentially on the night. The better team won, the better team went through. But I do want your thoughts and I want your feelings, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure you're smashing like buttons. A big shout out to our title sponsors. They're the reason that I'm here in Doha with KJ. Of course, we're working with Jess as well, who's also working alongside the brilliant people at Gold as well. But I want to say thank you to NordVPN, not only for getting us here, along with getting us out here, helping us get a place to stay, allowing us to be right in the center of what's going on in Qatar, which has been absolutely fantastic. They're also helping us watch the games. So I wouldn't be able to stream on the BBC or ITV and be able to watch the games with relative ease over here if it wasn't for using my VPN provider that allows me to watch all my at-home streaming and content around the world. It's one great advantage of having a VPN. Essentially, my computer, my phone still thinks I'm in the UK, therefore I can access what I need to access. The other great element of a VPN is that your data is protected. You're using lots of Wi-Fi when you're traveling. Whether you be on a train, whether you be in an airport, whether you be in a coffee shop, this protects your data whilst you are online. You can see here, this is a screenshot from my phone. I'm able to connect to a secure location in the UK, meaning it's encrypted, meaning I cannot be hacked and my personal data cannot be harvested and used against me. If you're on the internet regularly, which you probably are if you're someone who watches streams, you have to have an internet VPN provider. Nord are the best in the business, absolute best in the business. We've got a great offer, which you get a 30-day money-back guarantee on, 4 months free on a 2-year plan. Either scan the QR code on the screen now or click on the link in the description or live comment section and get yourself signed up. Thank you to everyone that's also done it today so far. Quite a lot of you as well, been overwhelmed. And again, Nord are the reason we're out here. So please, if you're thinking about using a VPN provider, use them and use my link. Let's go to some of your comments that are coming through here. It's very late here, by the way. The time here now is just gone 1 o'clock in the morning. So I am exhausted, so do bear with me. But we've got some super chats here. First one says, the game felt rigged. Paredes red, Messi handball. Paredes should have been sent off. That's the one thing I will say. He commits a yellow card tackle and then boots the ball at that dugout. He should have been sent off. But I feel like there's a little bit of you're going to get this in these games. They're trying their absolute best to keep as many players on the pitch as they can. But I do think by the letter of the law, there definitely could have been a red card at that point, no doubt. Heartbroken. I can't understand anybody that supports these absolute cheats. Horrible referee as well. I'm going to bed. Messi, disgusting. Come on, Croatia. Look, I would say this. Look, the RGs are definitely they got that fire in their belly. They're going to push the letter of the law. And they're going to bend it as far as they can. That's always been my experience of watching them play. You have to match fire with fire. You simply have to match fire with fire. Argentina backed off in the second half after the goal and let the Dutch into the game. They should have had a third to kill the game off. Can't do that to Croatia. Oh, Croatia, Argentina. It's a great point. They did. And we kind of saw that a little bit with Brazil earlier on, just taking their foot off the gas and maybe not completely killing it. The fact that up until the 82nd minute, the Netherlands had only had one shot, that's the craziest part about it. I mean, that's legitimately the craziest part about it. Only one shot up until that point. I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing. No real threat. I mean, Gakpo and Memphis had terrible nights that they will want to forget. Just the ball weren't sticking. They weren't holding the play up well. Nothing was coming off. Terrible nights from a Dutch point of view in that angle. But yeah, look, Croatia are going to be a different kettle of fish. They've proven that today. Very resolute, hard to break down, but they do have Lionel Messi. And if Lionel Messi is able to feed in the Alvarez's and the like, it's going to be a very, very tasty game indeed. Someone here says Paredes committed the foul. Enzo booted the ball. No clue how the commentator said. I missed that. So it was Enzo that kicked the ball and Paredes that. So I must have got that the wrong way around. But I still think, for me, I still think kicking the ball could be at your opponent's bench could be perceived as a red card. It's violent conduct. You're trying to smash somebody with the ball. I thought it was Paredes because where I was watching it, I didn't see many replays. So I just went with what the commentator said, if I'm being honest. I was kind of looking at the aftermath of the fight, if that makes sense, not that. Okay, so I stand corrected. Apologies on that, Bill. But yeah, I thought I heard that. I thought the commentator said it was. So I went with the commentator. Terry, you said only the greats carry their teams to World Cups, which Messi is doing, unlike CR7. Does that settle the debate for you or not? Messi is beyond impressed me in this tournament. And do you want to know why he's impressed me? Bear with me with this example, but I have to tell it from a perspective of how I understand it. When I've seen two great players at my football club, Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes, two of the greatest my club's ever produced, have to adapt and change their game. They couldn't be the same players in their mid to late 30s as they were in their mid to late 20s. And they adapted. They played less games at time. They were used as subs. They'd come on for the last 3 or 4 minutes of games where needed. They'd miss 2 or 3 games, sit on the bench, wouldn't come on. But when they were needed, they stepped up. I'm not saying Messi's at that point where Lionel Messi isn't being used as a regular starter, but his game's changed. He is still a major focal point, but he understands that he needs people to help him. So is Messi carrying his team with these brilliance, individual moments of brilliance? Yes. But what's great is that Messi isn't this egomaniac who is still trying to play like he's 25. He knows he's 35 and has to work in a different way. But he has his teammates on side as such, so they will do his running for him at times, which enables him to maybe stand still a little bit more. And he gets ridiculed for standing still, but he has to because he's too old to run around now. If he run around with every ounce of energy he has from the start of a game, by the 50th minute, he wouldn't be able to move anymore. Players just can't at that age. It's as simple as that. So, yeah, listen, I think a lot of people are out here. I'm telling you now, I've been asking people that question for the last 2 days. You'll see the content soon. I'd say it's 80% Messi is what people are currently saying right now, especially after the season and that he has had. Messi always walked around. Again, I don't mean, people often confuse this. I don't mean walking around from a point of view of not pressing and running back and defending. I mean, he's not able to burst with the ball like he used to. He's not able to make the runs off the shoulder of defenders as regularly as he used to. He's just too old to. That's not a dig at Messi. That's what happens at this age. But he's adapted. The team's worked with him and they're making it work. And over the course of this tournament, you've seen the chopping and changing. The manager's getting it right. The manager's getting it right. And that's really, really important. Really, really important indeed. Abda says, I agree with that. Messi had the balls to take the first penalty, unlike Neymar. Do you know what, Tom? I said that when he stepped up. You always have your best penalty taker first on a penalty shootout. You always have your best penalty taker first. It's just the way that it has to be. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on that, my friend. I really, really couldn't. He's been standing still for years now. Don't start this again. Again, I'm not talking about, again, people misinterpret what I mean. So we're not going to go into it again. But he does. I guarantee if you look at the amount of ground he covers now compared to 10 years ago, he's covering less. I bet he's covering less, but that ain't a problem as long as the team is built to cope with it. And that's the difference. And the style of play they've elected to use, then get away with it now with younger players. Why are people crying? Cry more. You're watching a GOAT. This is the thing with the Messi versus Ronaldo fanboys. The reason I've never enjoyed that is because I love watching both of them. And watching both of them has always been great for me. So I'm just going to continue to enjoy watching both. And remember the great times they've both given us. I've never I will never hate on either, you know, because it's just, honestly, it's so boring. It's so boring. So just enjoy them. That was a steel cage match for everyone. Tackles, goals. Sorry. That was a steel cage match for everybody. Tackles, goals, excellent set pieces, yellow cards, players, shit talking. That was a tense 120 minutes. It was brilliant though, wasn't it? It was very tense. It was very hard, but it was great to watch. It was great to watch. I think as an overall spectacle, and I think it's one of those games that will live on long in people's memories. I think it really will. At this point, it's not about beautiful football. It's all about getting it done. Messi and the RGs are like old Italian teams, not pretty but effective. Yeah, I'd probably agree with you on that. Like they have their pretty moments, but it isn't sort of like peak tiki-taka Spain or the flair of a very good Brazilian side. It is far more efficient, but that's the nature of the beast nowadays. That's the nature of the beast. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Terry, Messi is finished along with Ronaldo. They can't do what they did in their primes, but good to see. What was it? He's not finished. Finished would mean he isn't being impactful at all. So he's not finished. He got the assist and the goal today. He must be one of the top goal scorers at the World Cup. So he isn't finished, but he's not a young Messi anymore. So he has to adapt. I mean, the two things can coexist at the same time. Terry, you still want Gakpo? Yeah, no, but listen, I don't know what channel you've been watching. I've very much said there's elements of Gakpo I like, and there's other elements where I'm like, the jury is still very much out on him. So yeah, I've definitely put that message out there a few times, my friend. So yeah, I haven't said that. But there we go. Listen, my people, short stream from me tonight just because it's very, very late here and I got an early start in the morning. But we're back tomorrow, of course, for both the games, Morocco versus Portugal and England versus France. So make sure you're back with the Football Terrace. Download and get installed onto your computers and tablets and all sorts of devices now the NordVPN. I think you can have up to 6 devices on one account. I'll give you a big 4-month discount and a 30-day money-back guarantee if you're not enjoying it. Some great things you can do on there as well. Even flying out here and my accommodation, I got £1,000 off just because I used the VPN and put my location as if I was living here. So I'm not going to tell the person who owns it I did that, but that's what I did. £1,000 off. There's so many brilliant life hacks you can use with VPNs as well as protecting your data. So make sure you get that done. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.